Hello, everyone. This is the release 15.6 planning issue. My name is Chris Polani. I'm the product manager for the release stage. I'm here with Emily Bauman, product designer for the release stage. So we'll talk about the themes and goals for the milestone. We will talk through the P1 deliverables on all the issues and MVCs that we're working on for our engineering team. And then I'll turn it over to Emily, which will talk about the design work and UX work that we have planned for the milestone. All right, so in terms of themes, we have deploy approval iterations that we're continuing to work on. This is the major feature that we've launched and have since iterated on, and based on customer feedback and user feedback that we've been hearing, and based on direction, we're continuing to make progress on making this feature more mature. And then we have a few technical investigations as well. And then we have a good list of bugs that we want to tackle this milestone. So in terms of deliverables, we have our release P1s, as you can see here. And so I'll go through each of them and discuss them in more detail. So the first one is support approval rules in deployment approval UI. And what we've been doing here is now that we have different ways to configure approval rules, we want to be able to represent those and show that useful information and show the progress towards getting all the approvals you need in the UI when you're executing your deployments. And so, as you can see here in the screenshots, what we'll be doing here is adding more information to this this pop-up modal that we have, and now you'll be able to really easily see which groups have done the approvals, which ones you need them, and which groups you still need approvals for, and how many, as you can see in this table. And so again, this is now part of your deploy approval workflow, and you have all that information right within this this modal. The next one we're tackling is iterating on the search feature that we launched recently in the environments page. And so our first MVC, you're able to search for those high level, those top level environments. And now we're also adding the ability to search for environments within the folders that a lot of you use for structuring environments. The next one is a navigation change. And so we've heard feedback from a lot of you, and we want to also make sure that using our deployments functionality and environments functionality that we've been working on recently is really easily accessible for you. And so so this change is actually tweaking the navigation a little bit. So now when you click on the deployments item in the navigation, you're going to go to the environments page as a default. Today, it goes to the feature flags, which is a little unintuitive, and we're also just changing the ordering in that list to make it to reflect that. The next one is a backend change, and so we have been, and we're continuing to, but we're moving towards GraphQL as a backend for serving up a lot of the information on those environments pages. And so this one is doing that specifically for nested environments. And so over time, we hope to make most of our major APIs for these pages GraphQL, which has a lot of performance benefits, a lot of kind of feature implementation efficiency benefits as well. We're excited to make progress on this. The next one here is just making sure we internationalize our error message in the release services. We've gotten some feedback and making sure we want to properly get the right content and copy for those error messages to make sure we're communicating the right information for you to debug some of these issues. Next one, we've heard feedback here. And so those of you that use the environments pages a lot, what we've seen and what you've told us is that there's some performance and CPU issues that occur when we have when there are lots of tabs open for this page, in which case, if you have a lot of environments you're monitoring at the same time, this totally makes sense. So we want to do an investigation here to better understand what's causing this issue and help optimize performance for that. The next one here is the deployment buttons are missing from environment page and group, and groups view and access as deployment only users. This is another this is a sus impacting usability bug that we want to make sure are the action buttons and the behavior of those of that page and feature is just consistent across all the different types of environments that we have. And then another few bugs for the rest of these issues that we want to tackle. And then the last one I want to talk about is actually, we were discussing in the past few days, and we're hoping to pull in either this milestone or the next one is making sure the configuration and setup experience for the deploy approval feature is fully fleshed out and has all the capabilities of the API. And so today, what the configuration UI presents is configuration for what we call the unified approval rules. What we're going to do with this change is change that to default to the multiple approval rules option that we currently have. And the reason we're doing this is because eventually we want to migrate all of our users and customers to use this model. The unified approval model was our MVC, our first iteration of being able to configure this, but multiple approval rules is the way to go. It's more powerful, it's more flexible, and we want to make sure that we provide an easy way for customers to be able to set this up. Currently, it's only by API, again, going back to that deploy approval maturity we were talking about, we want to make sure that you can configure these rules right within the UI. Part of this will be just making sure we give users the right information right in the screen about how to migrate and when that's going to happen and why we're changing this. But in the end, this will support us moving over to that one model, deprecating the old model, simplifying all of this, and making sure our users understand how this approval feature can be configured well. Okay, so that's those are the P1 deliverables. We are working on adding to our P2 and P3 lists, and that'll be populated in the next day or so. We were just talking, Emily and I, before we started recording. We've got a good list of kind of low-hanging fruit and items that we can tackle too. So we'll pull those in. And then with that, I'll hand it over to Emily to talk about the UX work.
Awesome. Let me just, what happens when you have way too many screens open? Cool. There we go. So for UX this milestone, we have quite a few, including a bigger research initiative. But the first one we want to tackle is just figuring out the deployment detail page MVC. We realize that these deployment approvals can't always live in a modal. We're building this up. We need a kind of a permanent place for them to live. So just figuring out the MVC of a deployment details page will be one of the big ones for 15.6. Another one that we've been talking about quite a bit in the past is improving the UX of promoting deployments on the environment index page. This came back from a bunch of user feedback that we had made a change here. We were looking to revert that change and kind of rethink about the UX of promoting deployments. So we're gonna hopefully get an MVC out for this one in 15.6 as well. A smaller UX one we're going to take on is don't allow deployments to be rerun after it's been approved. So currently, once a deployment has been approved, it can be run, and this is just looking at the UX of making sure it's not able to be rerun, and you'll have to give an additional approval on that. Then the next big one, this one kind of moved over from 15.5 due to some additional conversations that had to happen around what the first MVC of this looks like. but we're looking to do a very simple, dynamically populated organization level environments page. So really showing all environments at the group level to users, and how can we do this in like the simplest way for the first iteration, and then continue working on that as we move forward. And then the final one is the category maturity scorecard for environment management. So this one will include validating our job to be done, creating scenarios, and interviewing with internal users to kind of get an idea of this environment management category. And this one will be done in 15.6. And yeah, that's all the UX issues I'll be tackling in the next milestone. So.
Okay, thanks, Emily. Super excited about all of those group level or org level environments page and deployment detail page. Super, yeah, those are amazing features. Really excited to get working on those and collaborate with you on them. All right, so that's our milestone for 15.6. If you have any questions, let us know. Feel free to reach out. Thank you, everyone.